Hello, you're watching News9 Live. Unfortunately, political parties, much like human beings, learn only in hindsight. What the BJP did to face a defeat in Karnataka could very well repeat itself in the next big assembly election, that is Rajasthan. In focus today are, of course, the two men of the Congress party in Rajasthan, Gehlot and Pilot. But you know what? It would be extremely naive to ignore ex-Chief Minister Vasundhara Raje, whose recent public meeting in Churu had multitudes chanting, "Ab ki baar, Vasundhara ki sarkar." Look at what the BJP shall always have to battle if it doesn't in time mend its ways sooner rather than later. That being of sidelining the son or daughters of the soil leaders who may look inconsequential today, but are quietly working at the grassroots. Leaders who know the pulse of the people, leaders who can work caste equations brilliantly. What the BJP did to Yediyurappa in Karnataka, taking him screaming and protesting from the Chief Minister chair and lose out not only amongst the Lingayat but most Kannadigas, could well be repeated in the case of Vasundhara Raje Scindia. Let's not forget, Vasundhara Raje won the 2013 assembly elections with 200 seats from Jalrapattan. The question that we are asking today is, will the BJP repeat the Karnataka blunder in Rajasthan? Can the BJP hit the ground running and not make the same mistake it did with B.S. Yediyurappa, or BSY as is popularly called, even as Rajasthan inches closer each day? Can one of the powerful and tallest women leaders in Rajasthan rise as the phoenix in the state? Or will she also walk away into the horizon, much like Yediyurappa? The recent intrigue about did she support Ashok Gehlot or not, and with Sachin saying did she, then perhaps Sonia Gandhi is not her leader. It should be, not his leader, but it should be Vasundhara. Listen into all these intrigues and what is called palace intrigues more than anything else.
रानी ने, दूसरा वसुंधरा राजे सिंधिया ने, और तीसरा कैलाश मेघवाल ने। कैलाश मेघवाल को मालूम था, वसुंधरा राजे को मालूम था, जब शेखावत थे मुख्यमंत्री, उस वक्त जो है उनकी पार्टी के लोग सरकार गिरा रहे थे। मैं प्रदेश कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष था, मेरे पास लोग आए, पैसा बढ़ने लग गया था। उस वक्त में भी अभी बढ़ा, वैसे उस वक्त बढ़ रहा था, बढ़ने लगे पैसा। मैंने उनको कहा, भले आदमी हो, तुम्हारा नेता भैरव शेखावत मुख्यमंत्री है, मैं पीसी का अध्यक्ष हूँ, वो बीमार है इसलिए गया हुआ है क्यूलैंड के अंदर, अमेरिका के अंदर, और तुम पीछे षड्यंत्र करके सरकार गिरा रहे हो, मैं तुम्हारा साथ नहीं दूंगा। मैंने उस वक्त कहा था, अगर मैं चाहता तो उनके साथ शामिल होकर के सरकार गिर सकती थी भैरव सिंह जी की। वो मैंने कहा, तुम ये अनैतिक काम कर रहे हो। जो आदमी बीमार है, 3 दिन ऑपरेशन हो गए वहाँ पर, बहुत नाजुक हो गई थी स्थिति उनकी वहाँ पर, और तुम पीछे सरकार गिरा रहे हो। वही बात कैलाश मेघवाल ने और वसुंधरा राजे सिंधिया ने कहा कि हमारे यहाँ कभी परंपरा नहीं रही है इस प्रकार चुनी सरकारों को गिराने की पैसे के बल पर। ये कहा उन्होंने, क्या गलत किया उन्होंने, क्या गलत कहा उन्होंने? और शोभा रानी ने उनकी बात सुनी, वसुंधरा राजे की और कैलाश मेघवाल की। इनके अंतरात्मा ने कहा कि मुझे भी ऐसे लोगों को साथ नहीं देना चाहिए। क्या गलत किया शोभा रानी ने? इसलिए हमारी सरकार बची है। इसलिए मैं जिंदगी में ये घटना कहीं भूल नहीं सकता जो मेरे साथ बीती थी। ये तो प्रदेशवासी मजबूत रहे, सजग रहे। फोन आते थे एमएलए के पास में, मुझे गर्व है कहते हुए, और आम जनता ने कहा एमएलए को, अपने अपने एमएलए को, चाहे 6 महीने रहना पड़े होटलों में रहो, सरकार नहीं गिरनी चाहिए। इस बात का मुझे गर्व है।
सम्मान्य मुख्यमंत्री जी की नेता आदरणीय श्रीमती सोनिया गांधी जी नहीं है, बल्कि उनकी नेता वसुंधरा राजे सिंधिया जी हैं। उनकी नेता सोनिया गांधी जी नहीं हैं, बल्कि उनकी नेता वसुंधरा राजे सिंधिया जी हैं। और एक तरफ ये कहा जा रहा है कि हमारी सरकार को गिराने का काम भाजपा कर रही थी, दूसरी तरफ कहा जाता है कि सरकार को बचाने का काम वसुंधरा जी कर रही थी। तो ये जो विरोधाभास है, इसको समझाना चाहिए। आप कहना क्या चाह रहे हैं, ये स्पष्ट कर देना चाहिए.
So like I said, the question we are asking is Vasundhara mirroring or rather going Yediyurappa's way? Like I said, it's about the central leadership sidelining the salt of the earth leaders, much like what they did in Karnataka. Will they repeat the same mistake in Rajasthan as well? My colleague Brijesh Pandey is in the studio to speak more about it. Also joining us, Amitabh Tiwari, who's a political analyst, and Gautam Mukherjee, who's also a political analyst. I'm going to start with you. You see, like I said initially when I started this conversation, is that much like human beings, we all learn in hindsight.
Absolutely.
बाद में बैठ के कहते हैं ये नहीं करना चाहिए था हमको. The recent example is of Karnataka, and Karnataka, I think, in electoral history, in the recent electoral history, is a major tectonic shift. You know, we were talking about it several times, Brijesh. I want to ask you, much like what they did to Yediyurappa, at that time it just seemed very simple at the surface of it. Do you think they are almost going to do the same blunder with Vasundhara Raje as well?
Well, they're trying to, and they have been trying to do it for a while now.
Right.
I think, you know, what they are mistaken is, like the Congress does these kind of mistakes. What the BJP top command is doing is that, you know, they feel that everything is Gujarat, which is like, you know, you have Gujarat chief ministers, or you can completely change the cabinet of Gujarat without any murmur from the organization or without facing any kind of electoral adverse scenario. So you're always settled, and this is how they have done in couple of states, and it has worked for them. It didn't work for them in Karnataka, because, you know, because usually, as it happens with palace intrigues, you know, all kind of theories floating that, you know, you want to undergo generational change, and that is the reason why they chose to do this just before election. It's all right if you lose election, but, you know, 2 years down the line, you will have a new generation here. You free yourself from, you know, from the likes of Yediyurappa and allow new but all that could have been done at the end of 2024. You know, what stops you from doing that? And they have suffered the electoral reverse. The same, they're doing the same thing with Vasundhara Raje. And I think if they do not let this entire scenario let go of this thing, or keep on, you know, targeting Vasundhara, or keep her trying to box her in a corner, I don't think it's going to work well for the BJP. Right now, the Congress is in a mess. So the only advantage which they have vis-a-vis Karnataka is that Congress is in an absolute mess. Barring that scenario, I think if they would actually try to box Vasundhara, the fact is that it can boomerang badly on the BJP.
Absolutely. What Brijesh said, Amitabh Tiwari, and I'm going to come to you right now, is that when Sachin and Ashok, they're both fighting, you know, and it is out in the open. There are no secrets about it. There is no breaking story about it. Every day you hear comments. This has been going on for a long time. It would have been advantage Vasundhara Raje. But no, that's not the point. It's because the BJP central leadership seems to be kind of shooting itself in the foot. I'm going to tell you what, you know, read out. Rajasthan BJP chief Satish Punia, he recently said upper age limit for BJP leaders to hold positions in the government and party should be 70 instead of the unofficial 75 years. Now look at it, Raja is 69 years old and will turn 70 in, she must have March, I think she was turned 70 in March. Same theory was also kind of peddled in Karnataka when it comes to Yediyurappa. Oh, he's too old, he can't handle it. Do you think somewhere Vasundhara is going the Yediyurappa way?
By this logic, then the Prime Minister should retire because he is more than 70 years.
I wanted you to say it. I didn't want to say it. Brijesh, I didn't say it.
And Satish Punia has been demoted also. He is no longer the chief now. He is now the deputy leader of opposition, if I'm not. So see, the centralization of the power in BJP's high command, we have been seeing this for a long time now. And the BJP, what here it feels is that since there is a revolving door mechanism in Rajasthan and there is infighting in Rajasthan Congress, the BJP stands to win. And for that reason, why should they project or make the hands of a local leader like Vasundhara Raje stronger? So that is the feeling of the central or the BJP high command now, as it is called. If, as you rightly said, if you recall the 2014 victory of BJP, it was a victory of regional satraps also, correct? Because the regional satraps like Vasundhara, Shivraj, Raman, Thackeray in Maharashtra, these guys helped the party to win the seats. Modi himself has risen from a regional force to become a national force today. But there is a difference with Karnataka, and here is the fact that in Karnataka, the BJP was in power, whereas in Rajasthan, the BJP is out of power, and the party feels that the Modi factor works when the party is out of power, so they can project Modi as the super CM under whose guidance the local CM, as and when and whom they choose.
So you think, Amitabh, that slogan we all heard, you know, Modi aapse bair nahi, Vasundhara teri khair nahi, that's still applicable because the BJP is not in power, and therefore you feel Modi is the one who is the towering personality and they can punt on Modi but not on Vasundhara Raje. That still means the same thing. You're sidelining her completely.
Yeah, so no, actually at that point Vasundhara was in power. So the anti-incumbency.
I'm talking about today. Unki abhi bhi khair nahi lagta hai.
Yeah. So today I don't think that is the scene. Today she is the most popular leader amongst all the leaders in BJP. And the most important thing which we are all forgetting is the women vote bloc. Women today increasingly are playing an important role in electoral results.
Absolutely.
Even in Karnataka, 11% more women voted for the Congress, and that translates into the majority part of the lead which Congress
Right. Amitabh, let me come to you, get some... Brijesh wants to come in.
Just see, there's also a thing with catchy slogans is that, you know, we only remember the catchy slogans. We don't remember what happens afterward.
Yes.
So, you know, whenever you want to discuss Vasundhara Raje, 90% of the people will, you know, throw this thing to, oh, yo, listen, you know, it's Modi who's going to win for you. And you remember this dialogue that, you know, Modi tusse bair nahi, Vasundhara teri khair nahi. But how many seats did BJP won? 73 in an election in which they were supposed to be wiped out completely. Congress won 99, of course, due to the mechanism of Ashok Gehlot and I heard what. But BJP won 73, which was a brilliant performance. And had it gone slightly sideways, you know, the BJP would have gone on to form the government as well. So all that Vasundhara teri khair nahi and all, at the end of the day, when result came out, was just a catchy slogan, nothing more than that.
Right. Let me now go to Gautam Mukherjee. Gautam Mukherjee, let's bring the focus back. My focus is, history repeats itself and it becomes very farcical, as we all know. Is Vasundhara Raje, look at, you know, all the experts, my colleague Brijesh and, you know, Amitabh Tiwari, they all said she's capable, she's someone who won elections, but today things aren't going so well for her. Our entire question is, Yediyurappa also, someone who went, you know, the way he worked with the RSS and saw to it that the BJP gets a kind of firm foothold in Karnataka. Later we know that what happened. There was intrigue. People said he was humiliated. He spoke as much about it in privately and also to his close, you know, political friends. Do you think somewhere the BJP central leadership, I know it's it may not be a consequential coincidence, but it's again Mr. Arun Singh, the man who was in the middle of everything, going from, you know, parachuting from Delhi to Bengaluru almost 16, 17 times, and same with Rajasthan. I do not know if things have changed now. But the point is are people underestimating that woman, that is Vasundhara Raje? Do they think that because of her hubris, because she's arrogant, because she's not very popular, not pliable, she can also be asked to sit in one corner?
Well, if the BJP intends to do anything of the sort, they should identify someone with equal leadership potential and charisma. Now, that is nice to say in theory, but amongst the possible contenders in Rajasthan, there simply aren't any. And Vasundhara is a hard nut, does not get on with the central leadership, particularly, but has a strong base in Rajasthan, which has been loyal to her all the while she's been in opposition. She gets on well with Gehlot, as it happens, lives next door to him, and I think they give each other advice whenever possible. So she is a seasoned politician in Rajasthan used to holding power. She's been there twice already. Now, if you compare that with Yediyurappa, now Yediyurappa is probably the most towering Lingayat
True.
leader on both sides of the fence, whether it's Congress or whether it is BJP. BJP has persistently made the mistake of removing him. They removed him when L.K. Advani was in charge, and they lost the state. Now, when they took out Yediyurappa on the pretext of age, they put in a lackluster Lingayat, all right, and technically suitable insofar as his father was also a chief minister, so he should have been all right, but he was a disaster. And they not only put him in, but persisted in keeping him in the saddle right up to and until they realized they'd made a mistake. Then they made a dog's breakfast of it by bringing in Yediyurappa and his son, firing various sitting MPs, and still landing up with losing about 10 or 11 seats. So in other words, the incompetence of the political administration
Right.
that looked after Karnataka is
gone.
glaring.
Yeah.
They have not only lost because of incumbency, anti-incumbency, they have been thrashed. And that is not a good sign for the political
Yeah, so-
sagacity
right.
of people like Amit
Right,
Shah,
Gautam. So, yeah.
Nadda, and the local,
Yeah.
you
Gautam,
know,
let me come back to you.
political-
Gautam Mukherjee, let me come back to you. Brijesh,
when
you know what Gautam says, that, Vasundhara is a tall leader, but let's understand one thing. I don't know if you will agree with me. Yediyurappa was the leader first and then a chief minister. Whereas I somehow feel Vasundhara Raje's strength as a politician emanates from because she's chief minister. As a leader, I was talking to some of my friends, people who cover Rajasthan, and they were saying, individually send Vasundhara out. It's an exaggeration. They say 2 वोट भी नहीं जीत पाएंगी वो, जबकि येदियुरप्पा को आप अकेले खड़े कर दीजिए, ले लीजिए उनकी चीफ मिनिस्टर की कुर्सी, वो अकेला आदमी बहुत है. So do you think that although we are saying, we are talking about the method, Brijesh, but as personalities, do you think there is a great difference also?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
The reason I don't think so is because, had that been the fact that she's drawing her power from the post of being chief minister, the BJP or the top brass would have finished her off from 2018 till 2023. That has not happened. And that has not happened because she is, and this is not the first time, she has also, showed her defiance several times. And she has been the only person who has openly shown her defiance to the top 2 and lived to tell the tale.
Right.
And the fact that she has lived to tell the tale is a very clear indicator that she is not drawing her power or her popularity from the post of chief ministership. She till date remains one of the most popular BJP leaders. After Bhairav Singh Shekhawat, she is the most popular leader coming from Rajasthan. There's no other person. You may think of 50 other people, but there's not one person who can actually has the kind of guts. And it's not Amit Shah and Narendra Modi who has faced the ire of Vasundhara. Rajnath Singh, when he was the chief minister, she brought the entire dissension right outside his residence. We were all there as cub reporters covering, and we were running around. And I was amazed at the fact that the kind of nonchalant way she would handle everything. I mean, I was very impressed with her. So I not at all agree with this fact. The fact is also that it is not that she has also not shown the mirror to the high command. When she chose to celebrate her birthday, that became a major row of contention between the central leadership and Vasundhara. So the same Arun Singh, the reason I had a smile when you were mentioning Arun Singh to Gautam was because the same, the party said, no, we have to gherao the Vidhan Sabha, we have to target this, that and all. 50 programs were made and people were given stern warnings that, this is most important, you don't have to turn up. Look at the kind of crowd that turned up for her birthday celebration. And the same Arun Singh, after saying everything, all those leaders rushed to make sure that they are by the side of Vasundhara when the entire gig was happening. So she has made it several times in your face that I am a power and you cannot mess with me.
So are you saying that she cannot be given short shrift? unlike Yediyurappa.
She cannot be.
So
I think the only difference between Yediyurappa and Vasundhara is that Yediyurappa has accepted the central leadership despite his towering presence.
Sure.
He kowtowed before the central leadership. This is the only difference between Vasundhara and Yediyurappa. Vasundhara has till date, has not kowtowed before the central authority, be it Rajnath Singh, be it Advani, or be it Amit Shah and Narendra Modi.
Except Nadda, they say. Apparently, Nadda is the only one who's super careful with her and has a kind of, can set up assignations with her, or you're laughing again. So I think...
Well, when we talk of, say, Amit Shah, or when we talk of Narendra Modi, I don't think we can use the name of Nadda in the same line. So, I think that's
you said even earlier that don't say this. It's not like the film
you can
Amar Akbar
ask,
Antony.
yeah,
I'll ask Amitabh also this. Amitabh, tell me something. Brijesh has said, here is a woman. She's not soft putty in your hand. She's not somebody who will go smilingly saying, "Theek hai, this is my destiny." Although a lot of people said, because she has enjoyed power in different avatars, as in Gwalior, as the sister of the late Madhav Rao, etc., etc. She's really not after power, which I refuse to believe. However, I mean, look at her nephew, Jyotiraditya, but that's another conversation. I'm asking you something. What Brijesh said, that she couldn't care less. After Shekhawat, she is the one leader in BJP who is a towering personality. Do you think that is also something which has worked against her, particularly in a cadre-based party like the BJP? Look at Churu. 60,000 people were there cheering for her, whereas her own party people were missing in action. So do you think that this kind of larger-than-life woman who's there, who's, kind of almost kind of dominating you, is also going against her, and that will not sit very well with the central leadership, Amitabh Tiwari?
See, it is a game of who blinks first. So while the larger than life image of Vasundhara is a disturbing factor to the High Command, but I also distinguish High Command between number one and number two. So the number one person, Mr. Modi, is not afraid of any leader within the country, whether from BJP or from the Congress. He does not see anybody, whether Vasundhara or Yogi or anybody else, as competitor. Now she becomes competitor to the number two person in the BJP, who has hopes of succeeding Narendra Modi as and when he retires. So she has a lot of popularity. She has the woman factor behind her. She also caters to three caste groups because of her family relationships: Rajputs, Jats, as well as Gujars. And now it is a matter of flexing your muscles, whether she goes to the extent of forming her own party or not agreeing to what the High Command has in store for her. These things will be decided in the next 2 to 3 months, I think. The main thing is whether BJP High Command can risk losing a state as big as Rajasthan just before the Lok Sabha elections. And Mr. Modi is a very practical man. Similar things happened with Yogi Adityanath during COVID. There was a lot of negative campaign against Yogi, and there were news that he could be removed as chief minister, etc. Correct, but Yogi directly met Modi and things were sorted out. So if Vasundhara is able to convince Modi that he cannot win the 25 seats of Rajasthan without the help of Vasundhara Raje, then Modi is a practical man. I would think that he would not have any problem in projecting Vasundhara as the chief minister of Rajasthan.
Right, but Amitabh, before I turn to Gautam Mukherjee, I want to ask you, this whole murmur about Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, we spoke about the earlier senior Shekhawat, holding his own in Rajasthan. Right now they say, because she does not listen, because people are slowly moving away from what she did, which I'm going to ask Gautam Mukherjee, because it is not as if here is royalty, ex-royalty, whatever we want to call her, the Maharani, that's one of the reason, or because she's very domineering and a Shakti and everything. She's done a lot of work, at the ground level. But I'm asking you, the Gajendra Singh Shekhawat angle, you know, pretty much like what Bommai in Karnataka. I'm bringing the focus back on Yediyurappa, Vasundhara Raje. You know, the thing is, there was a Bommai there. They said, well, he's got socialist moorings. Where is he coming from? But the central leadership wanted him. Similarly, do you think the Gajendra Singh Shekhawat angle will work its magic like the central leadership keeps putting it out in the news?
No, I don't think Gajendra Singh Shekhawat has any chances after the Sachin pilot episode where Sachin pilot failed to bring the required number of MLAs to BJP's side. It was Gajendra Shekhawat's entire ploy, and after that failure, he does not remain in the top 2-3 contenders as per the high command for the post of chief minister if the party wins the election. See, again, when we are comparing Yediyurappa and Vasundhara Raje, she may not be a caste leader per se of a very big block, because in Rajasthan, all these blocks which I discussed are 7-8% entirely. But she is the undisputed leader of the block of women voters, which is 50% of the population, which is today making independent voting decisions and not voting
just like
on
Nitish
the
Kumar
directions
there
of
in
the
Bihar.
Yes.
male voters. And Ashok Gehlot also realizes this. The statement made by Ashok Gehlot is to scuttle the chances of Vasundhara to become the chief ministerial face of the BJP, because he realizes that if
Right.
Vasundhara becomes the CM face, then it could become problematic for them.
Right. Gautam Mukherjee, like I was telling Amitabh, you know, the thing is that once again what Karnataka has proven is that all the paradigms that were created, all the, you know, the benchmarks that were created, several myths have been exploded. They said corruption does not matter. That's what the BJP was saying. A lot of experts were saying what matters is charisma. What matters is who can secure your future. But many of these theories, you know, actually were thrown out of the window once we had the mandate for Karnataka. Now look at this. I mean, on the one hand, you have these two men from the Congress fighting, and like I said initially that it could very well mean advantage advantage Vasundhara Raje. I don't think she uses Scindia anymore, but Vasundhara Raje. But the point is that isn't happening. You know, people are saying, oh come on, write her off. But you know, something which always struck me is she did this Annapurna Rasoi Yojana, much like Jayalalitha in Tamil Nadu, you know, the midday meals, 5 rupees. And she saw to it that all the poor people get meals. Of course, she's done a lot of other things. Do you think it's going to work in her advantage? Because when it comes to Yediyurappa, we almost forgot the kind of work he did. We only remember he and Yediyurappa went on a cycle and saw to it that they were pracharaks. But coming back to Vasundhara, do you think it is going to work in her advantage and she will not become a pushover?
I think the central leadership will retain her. They've got enough of a fight to exploit in the Congress and to create a fissure and a rivalry in the BJP ranks at this point in time, when they've already lost 2 states in a row in a direct contest with the Congress, would be a mistake. Vasundhara, if her only problem is that she is not a pushover, then I don't see how a party that calls itself democratic will you know, use that against her to any degree of effectiveness. Having said that, if the groundswell is that she is no longer popular and cannot win the election, then it's a different matter. But there doesn't seem to be very much indication of that. That she has her detractors as much as she has her supporters, because she's a person who is pretty forceful. And as a consequence, if you listen carefully on the ground in Rajasthan, you're going to hear a lot of people saying, oh, that Vasundhara should go. But by the same token, she's got a rock solid 25-30 MLAs who are with her.
Right.
and will do what she wants.
Yes.
So if I was in the central leadership, I wouldn't muck with this.
Right. Brijesh, I want to come back because caste is a very, very important. In Yediyurappa's case, everyone said, here is the tallest Lingayat leader ever. Bommai was no comparison right from day one. Gautam also pretty much spoke about it, and also the support of the MLAs that Vasundhara Raje has. She always says that I am the daughter-in-law of Jats, I am the daughter of Rajputs and Samdhan of Gujars, because her daughter-in-law is from a Gujar family. She's got the support of certain MLAs. But let's compare her and Yediyurappa on the caste thing. Do you think she comes, because also what Amitabh said, that there is a bit of a confusion about who she is. I mean, does she have enough of an inroad into the caste matrix? How do you look at it? How do you compare her and Yediyurappa?
I would agree with you when you say that, that Yediyurappa is the tallest Lingayat leader and she doesn't have a Lingayat-like thing which is working for them. Jat Gujars, I mean, they don't make for more than 8-9% of the total population. But she has one aspect which is working for her brilliantly, as it is working for worked for Nitish Kumar before, which is the woman bloc. The women voters are solidly behind her. And the fact is that, see, it's not the first time. We have seen several attempts by several leadership to discredit her, to remove her from the position of power and to get their own minions put in place. See, when you look at the statement of Ashok Gehlot, he may be wrong about something, but he's not entirely wrong. The fact of the matter is that, irrespective of what Sachin Pilot says right now, the attempt was that if he would have been able to topple the government, he would have been rewarded by the BJP, pretty much like they rewarded Jyotiraditya Scindia, but it didn't happen. And Vasundhara was critical to the entire scheme of things. And unlike Jyotiraditya, you have Shivraj Singh Chauhan, who's not that kind of a, toughie and was a pliable sort of a gentleman. If Sachin Pilot would have walked into BJP, trust me, he would have, Vasundhara Raje, there's just no comparison between the two of them. And the fact is also that there was some sort of rapprochement, in 2000, year before, when BJP held its national executive in Hyderabad, Vasundhara was the first person to do a press conference. And it was, signaled as someone like, some sort of a thaw in the eyes between the top brass and all. But once again, the entire scenario is unfolding as it was unfolding before. They want to push her aside. There are certain groups which want to project her that she's inimical to the party interest and all. But the fact remains that she remains the tallest and the most popular leader as far as the BJP is concerned. And this is the reason why the BJP top brass, despite wanting to remove her, has not been able to do it.
Right. Amitabh, I want to ask you that, Brijesh says that there is a desire to remove her, but they can't. They have failed. Now, I want to ask you about the other aspect. If you look at it, the kind of leader that she is, amongst other things, she's also not known to be a hardliner, unlike other leaders, who have emerged from the BJP stable. Do you think that is one of the factors that some people feel that she's been sidelined? One reason that she is, you can't possibly identify her. You can identify with what B.L. Santosh says and means. You can identify with what, not Bommai again, but that's another conversation. But you know exactly what Stalin says and means, Mamata says and means. But when it comes to Vasundhara, do you think that the whole Hindutva agenda is not something that she's very comfortable with, and therefore it may be difficult for the central leadership to ask her to take center stage, Amitabh Tiwari?
See, today, if she is not considered as a very hardline Hindutva leader, I would say that would work for her, because we've seen the hardline Hindutva has not worked in Karnataka. If I'm not wrong, Yediyurappa was considered a very secular leader. He was not agreeing to the fact that BJP should pursue a hardcore Hindutva in Karnataka. However,
Rajasthan is not Karnataka, Amitabh. South is not the north.
Again, it's not a, see, hardline Hindutva does not win BJP states. Again, we have to be very mindful. Hardcore ideological voters cannot swing election for any party in India. It is the swing neutral voters which determine the electoral results, not the hardcore Hindutva. So if it is not hardcore in today's circumstance, it might actually be beneficial for the BJP, because then she will be able to attract other voters also into the fold. Correct? Because Modi today is not a hardcore Hindutva leader. I mean, he has many different facets of a strong leader, nationalism, business investment friendly, etc. One thing which is very important is that now the Prime Minister has to take a call, because if Vasundhara is not announced as CM candidate, then nobody else would also be. And the BJP, if it goes for a combined sort of a leadership, then the entire campaign responsibility would fall on the shoulders of Prime Minister Modi. Now Mr. Modi has to take a call whether he wants to accept one more responsibility of a state and risk losing the state just 3 months before the elections. Because I mean, there is a durability factor also associated with any brand. And if you put that brand, if you overexpose that brand right from a national election to a municipal election, then that is going to be very dangerous for the party. And Modi is right now interested in getting his term back as a prime minister, creating record, creating history for a third term. So we'll have to see how it pans out and how actually the high command thinks about it. Because you talked about BL Santosh, but where is BL Santosh today? I mean, I have not heard or seen anything coming from him as to what has happened.
I think Karnataka did that to him, to the son of the soil, I guess. Yeah, that's what elections can do to people who were roaring at one time and then really quieten up and, you know, sit in a corner until they're resurrected once again. Gautam, let me come to you and ask you something. That, you know, the thing is that we've spoken, there is one factor which Rajasthan watchers have said, and I do not know whether it still has credence. And that being, no one can forget Rajmata, you know, her contribution to the party, her contribution to the ideology, that being the mother of Vasundhara Raje. So they say that, you know, that kind of charisma has now waned. That is history. According to a lot of people, these are the people who feel Vasundhara is not a career politician. She's somebody who meandered into politics because she wanted to do it, not really, she wasn't serious about it. I want to ask you that is that factor also playing in the sense that she does not have the legacy that she once enjoyed, Gautam, and that's why some people may feel that she stands isolated today?
I don't think legacy matters that much anymore. You know, sometimes legacy can be a mill around your neck. If you look at the Gandhis, the present leadership is suffering because of a much more exalted legacy than at least the two Gandhi siblings are able to bring to the table. Sonia Gandhi has her own stature, but she's also in the last act. And so here to talk of Rajmata, that was a different time, a different requirement, and early days of establishing a, if you like, Swadeshi, Swatantra loving party that had little chance of coming to power. That is a very different situation since the Ayodhya demolition, and particularly, you know, the Vajpayee administration had to milao chalao with everybody. It was a very unwieldy coalition. But under Modi, things have moved to the right. At the same time, there appears to be a large effort on the part of the BJP to be all things to all people, with this Sabka Viswas business, which is certainly confusing a lot of its core voters and not yielding any electoral results. Vasundhara Raje knows her state and should be able to deliver quite well, thank you. She needs to be supported, and I don't think the central leadership can afford to take...
But the question we are asking is the central leadership kind of repeating the mistakes yet again? I mean, we have, it's wonderful, the debate where, you know, there are conflicting views. But you know what, I'm going to play you what Sachin Pilot said apropos Gehlot and Vasundhara, because sometimes that one thing that you say during elections has a long impact. Just listen in, then I'm going to turn to Brijesh and ask him.
सम्मान्य मुख्यमंत्री जी की नेता आदरणीय श्रीमती सोनिया गांधी जी नहीं है, बल्कि उनकी नेता वसुंधरा राजे सिंधिया जी हैं। उनकी नेता सोनिया गांधी जी नहीं हैं, बल्कि उनकी नेता वसुंधरा राजे सिंधिया जी हैं। और एक तरफ ये कहा जा रहा है कि हमारी सरकार को गिराने का काम भाजपा कर रही थी, दूसरी तरफ कहा जाता है कि सरकार को बचाने का काम वसुंधरा जी कर रही थी। तो ये जो विरोधाभास है, इसको समझाना चाहिए। आप कहना क्या चाह रहे हैं, ये स्पष्ट कर देना चाहिए।
Rajesh, you know, sometimes Bajrang Bali, I mean, it became a big deal. You remember I had several conversations with you. You said, today we are not speaking about development, we are speaking about Bajrang Bali, you know, the god. And later we know what happened to that. You know, gods have this great talent of turning everything upside down, and particularly Bajrang Bali. Now look at what Sachin said. Sachin said कि ये विरोधाभास है, इनको तय कर लेना चाहिए कि कहना क्या चाहते हैं. What does he want to say? He needs to decide. ऐसा लगता है कि इनकी लीडर जो हैं वो सोनिया गांधी नहीं है एंड वसुंधरा जी हैं. He equates Sonia Gandhi with Vasundhara Raje. I'm talking about the common people. I'm talking about people who will go and ink. You say she already has a lot of support amongst women. Do you think this comment could very well be used during the elections where you say Sonia Gandhi हैं तो हमारे पास वसुंधरा राजे भी हैं?
I don't think that it's going to be used pretty much during the course of election.
The perception.
But what I know for sure is that the line which he used, and you said that yes, इनको समझाना चाहिए. मुझे लगता है गहलोत को नहीं समझाना चाहिए, सचिन पायलट को समझना चाहिए, क्योंकि he made it very clear what Ashok Gehlot said. Everybody got it except Sachin Pilot, because you know part A of that entire conversation was related to Sachin Pilot only, that he wanted to get a particular share of MLAs and then break the government and join the BJP, and the BJP forming the government. So I think Sachin Pilot understands, but like as a wily politician in making, Sachin Pilot has given it a twist. But one thing is there that it'll be very, very interesting to see, as Amitabh and Gautam both had said that as Amitabh said, that will Modi want to risk his personal capital in a state election this close to 2024? One of the things which was working out in Maharashtra also was that the reason they were not very happy is that the reason where they wanted to keep a hawk eye on the state of Maharashtra was because Maharashtra and Bihar are the two states which they are very wary of, and they don't want to take any chances. So if will Modi take a chance this close to 2024 election on a state? I seriously have my doubts that he will. And I think this election, the results of Karnataka has come as a decent jolt to several planners and executors of the BJP, and hopefully they will not repeat it. But if they want to do it, then I think it's a Rajasthan election right now is 65-35 or rather 70-30 in favor of the BJP, going by the internal tussle which is going on. But if they alienate, push Vasundhara into a corner and somehow convey the situation to her that that she might not be the deciding factor, you never know how the tide turn, especially in the state of Rajasthan.
So she will not be taken screaming and shouting much like, of course, I know there is a difference. Yediyurappa was a chief minister. She's not. She's out of power. But do you think that BJP will not risk telling her, ab aap jaiye?
Not at all. Not at all. She may be chief minister, she may not be chief minister. Whatever be the scenario, she's one leader, I've never seen anybody, even a staunch critic, say anything bad about her, even behind her back. So she has that kind of, charisma and personality going for her. I don't think she's going to scream and shout, but when the result will come, you'll realize the kind of dent she has made.
Right. So Brijesh is very clear that she is made of different stuff. She is a tough nut to crack, pretty much what Gautam Mukherjee said. But what does the BJP have? Will it try and create another Yediyurappa kind of situation, or will it skirt around it and meander through it smartly? I'm going to Amitabh, to speak more on this. Amitabh Tiwari, you spoke about Uttar Pradesh, you spoke about Yogi Adityanath. At that time, you spoke about the time when he was not popular, he was somebody who required layers of support, and there came Modi, who actually was there. I mean, people still say that, look, Yogi Adityanath was also going through a tough situation. Modi came and changed the situation. Do you think that on the one hand, if Modi cannot risk it so close to an election like Rajasthan, on the other hand, do you think that he will still stick his neck out and see to it that he gives it his best when it comes to Rajasthan and particularly Vasundhara Raje?
It's very difficult to say at this point of time. See how how does the situation in the country pan out over the next 3 to 6 months is very crucial, and how does things play out in the Congress camp as well. Because if Sachin Pilot remains in Congress, does not remains in Congress, moves out, let's say, because that's also a possibility, that Congress gets weakened significantly, despite the welfareism policies of Ashok Gehlots, etc. So if Congress gets further weakened from here,
Right.
then the BJP High Command could take a chance, correct? So it all depends upon the rapport or the relationship which Vasundhara is able to establish with Narendra Modi and establish her importance to him in the scheme of things, not only in the Vidhan Sabha, but also in the Lok Sabha elections. Because see, there is a section of people in the state, when I often go there, do have this feeling that the state needs fresh faces. This accusation of Sachin Pilot that they are hand in glove is actually also a perception among a large section of people in the state.
All right. Right. So, I mean, you are saying it's tough to right now punt on this entire thing, whether it will happen. I'm going to ask Brijesh because, you know, someone who is a total political animal and is out on the field, not that you are not, but he's on the field, he knows exactly what's going on. Brijesh, let me ask you something. It is today, she does not, you say, look at it, it's a very interesting situation. Two leaders fighting, Gehlot, Ashok ji and Sachin ji are fighting amongst themselves, and here she is. It's a very good opportunity for the BJP to say, you are fighting, you are not good for the state, here is a woman who's got charisma, who's got power, and we are going to back her. But abhi tak, ऐसे ये होने के कोई आसार नजर नहीं आ रहे हैं, you know.
As of now, nobody, the BJP is not, has not conveyed this
That's
desire.
what I want to ask you. Why is the BJP starting late, Brijesh? You were the first one to say that, Sudha, make no mistake. The homework's been done.
See, the point is that the BJP is also waiting. You know, Amitabh very rightly said that, you know, you'll have to wait for 3 to 4 months as to how it pans out. You know, if Sachin Pilot walks out of Congress, does that dent Congress, you know, beyond repair, or does it actually help Congress and, you know, people see Sachin Pilot for what he is? So a lot is in the offing, I think, in the next 2 to 3 months, I guess. But one thing I can say for sure is that, you know, they may not announce her and all, but she's going to be the tallest leader. Because I don't know how many seats she has, like, you know, all this sloganeering, as I said, no, Vasundhara teri khair nahi and all. She got 76 seats. So, you know, she has performed more than what was thought of. Had it been 30, 40 or the BJP decimated, I think they would, her career would have been done and dusted in 2018 only. And she has gone from strength to strength. It's not like, you know, say she has been completely sidelined, and she has also her own axe to grind. You know, her son not being accommodated in any of the cabinet expansions when we have seen several such expansions taking place. So she is also in that sort of position. And I think, you know, if the central government also goes and says that, you know, you let someone else become this, and, you know, some sort of a bargain that we will accommodate your son in the cabinet, give him a bigger positioning, all. I think barring that scenario playing out completely for her, I don't think that the BJP can afford to antagonize whatever the state of affairs.
But Brijesh, you talk about sons. When it comes to Yediyurappa's son, different ball game altogether. I'm not comparing apples with oranges here, but I'm saying Vijendra has his own, you know, kind of standing. Look at it, he won the elections this time around. Yediyurappa batted for him during the last few stages of his career, saying, "Arey, make him something." But the same thing cannot be said about the Yuvraj of Dholpur, right? About Dushyant. Dushyant doesn't have, comparatively, the same kind of locus standi that Yediyurappa's son or sons have.
Why?
I mean, look at the sheer charisma. I mean, look at the. I think it is also the winnability of a candidate.
I mean, he wins from his own seat. I mean, he wins his own seat.
Is that enough?
Yeah, I think.
But what about the strength? He's a quiet. I mean,
see, the point is, Sudha, if Vijender was not the son of Yediyurappa, would you and I be talking about it?
Not at all.
So his only USP is that he is Yediyurappa's
But he
son.
also uses
same,
it, no?
But same is with everything. You know, say most of these leaders which you see, most of these cabinet ministers, not all, but few of them, they are because of their legacy, and not as because that they are such a big leader that, you know, that change. See, the point is that, like, take the example of Himachal. You know, both Anurag Thakur and JP Nadda comes from Himachal. What happened there? So I'm just saying that you know, that majority of the time, you know, parents, they take a back seat only to make sure that their sons and daughters are settled in. Barring that scenario, and even that scenario, she will have the upper say. I honestly speaking, it's based on my several conversations with several BJP leaders and all, there are a lot many who thought that they would replace her. There were a lot many, I cannot name them, but yeah, there are a lot many who thought that they would replace her. There are a lot many who, laughed, scoffed, you are just over imagining and this is not like, and I have seen all of them being proven wrong.
Right. Amitabh, let me come to you and ask you, the thing is that, like I said, Yediyurappa built the organization. He was an organizational man, and of course, he was also majorly into politics. He was much respected. Whenever there was internecine warfare amongst the party, Yediyurappa, being the grey beard, would sit there and say, you're not supposed to behave like this. Like Brijesh said, and like you also said, he was never someone who was for halal and hijab. He was very clear. He has a secular image. I'm talking about Vasundhara Raje. If you have to say what is it that makes her stand apart from the rest, Brijesh just said, you cannot ignore her. Love me, hate me, don't ignore me, that's Vasundhara. What do you think are her main strengths, Amitabh Tiwari, as a political analyst?
See, I would say there are very few leaders in Rajasthan who enjoy a statewide presence or appeal, and Vasundhara would be counted in one. I mean, amongst the top three leaders. BJP does not have a leader who could have a mass appeal across all the 5-6 zones of Rajasthan. That's number one. Number two is her strong administrative experience, because again, the people who we are talking about, Rajendra Rathore or Satish Punia or anybody else, does not have the experience of running the state as big as Rajasthan. So she has run it for 10 years. And the most important is the support of the women voter. You mentioned a scheme of free canteen, a sort of a scheme. There are many landmark women schemes she launched. I am just now forgetting some of the names. And so that is her main point, because even in Congress, there is no woman leader of stature. That is becoming an increasingly important vote bank. And for your information and for the information of the audience also, Vasundhara Raje has already started the exercise of identifying 1, 2, 3 candidates for each of the 200 seats of Rajasthan. So she's already started the process, number one. And after this victory, as Brijesh ji is saying, she will maintain now or harden her stance, or the bargaining power of Vasundhara could actually increase. Now it all depends upon whether Congress is able to keep Sachin Pilot or not in the camp. If that happens, then it becomes even Stevens for Vasundhara Raje.
Completely run out of time. Thanks are due to Amitabh Tiwari and also Gautam Mukherjee, and to you, Brijesh. So look at it. I mean, 3 men on the panel. I'm the only woman. And they just kind of, said that my theory doesn't work. She ain't going the Yediyurappa way. No way. Her name is Vasundhara Raje, and we shall wait where Rajasthan goes. Thanks for watching.